Greetings viewers, Eric the Car Guy here, also known as ETCG1 on this here channel, because I'm wearing this hat. Hey, on ETCG1 we don't do repair videos, we talk about stuff, all kinds of stuff actually. So if you're looking for repair videos, what you want is my Eric the Car Guy channel. To make things easy, I'll post a link in the description, so all you have to do is click that and go watch all the repair videos that your little heart desires. However, if you wish to stick around and join in the conversation, well, hang out. It just might be fun. Well, for today's topic, I'd like to discuss the finer points of quality, or just maybe the concept of quality. I put out some videos, well, in the past on this channel about things like domestic versus import, things like bad technicians. The reason why I bring up those two seemingly different things is because quality is something that doesn't necessarily encompass just strictly products. It can also encompass people and their work ethic. Some time ago when I was a teenager, it was some time ago, I read a book called Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. It was by Robert M. Piercy. I think I've brought it up in these topics discussions before, but in it, it talks quite a bit about quality and the nature of quality. And he uses like two examples. These guys are riding motorcycles across the country. One of them has an old Harley Davidson that requires, well, a lot of maintenance. The other is riding a BMW that requires virtually nothing as far as any maintenance or any items that it needs on their trip. And that it sort of sparks a conversation between the two of them of who has the better bike in a way. And the discussion of quality comes up quite a bit. And quality as a concept, really when it comes down to it, quality is something that is based on your perception. But it's also based on material things, I think, because it's your perception of those materials that give them value. And therefore you might perceive them to have a quality over something else. Like say for instance, you might perceive steel to have more quality than plastic in certain situations. Like sure, they both have similar properties in that they can be molded into several different things and can perform many different functions, but one might perform a function better than another, and depending upon the application, what you would use in that instance would come about from that. Maybe that's a little weak, but I think you get my point, and that like, or maybe two different types of steel. One type of steel is really cheap, non-quality steel, and the other type of steel is a high quality grade steel. And where would you use those things? I think manufacturers spend a lot of time thinking about this stuff, because ultimately I think they want to put out the best product that they can possibly put out, but at the same time spend as little money as possible making it. And I think that shows up recently in the miniaturization of a lot of things. Like say for instance, when I first started off in the business, we had those larger plastic fuses. Well, now we have micro fuses. They started out, they got small, and then they got even smaller than that, and now they're just teeny tiny things that they're using. Now they perform the same function, exactly the same function, but they do it in less space and using less materials. And as a result, they're able to produce the same product using less materials. Now, does that change its quality? Hard to say, because just because you have more of something doesn't mean it is of a higher quality. It just means you have more of something. And in the case of manufacturing, if you have more of something, there's often a higher cost that's associated with that, and that's something to be considered. So quality permeates a lot of different aspects of manufacturing, and also I think a person's work. You take two technicians side by side of similar experience. One really cares about the work they do. One is collecting a paycheck. The one that really cares about what they do might take a little bit more time to do something, but in the end, you know it's right. The person that's just punching the clock, they get the job done, and they may get it done faster. And to some employers, that might be a good thing to them, because that means they can create more of a volume of work. But I would argue that the quality of that work might go down because the care and effort wasn't necessarily put into that. In fact, some of you have pointed out that you didn't necessarily agree with my methods in some cases because it didn't exactly exemplify the level of quality that you expected from me. So quality is something that I think permeates many different aspects of our lives and aspects of our our working professions in many ways. Is someone of quality worth more than someone that is just punching a clock? Well, that's really a matter of perception now, isn't it, when it comes down to the end of the day? And the person signing the checks, they're going to decide whether this person is worth more than this person and perhaps pay them accordingly. Or perhaps they may try to reap the benefits of that quality person for as little money as possible for as long as possible. I would say that's more likely. It's hard to say whether quality is something that is a tangible quantity or if it's something that is a perceived quality or perceived quantity. And that's kind of what I wanted to throw out to you. I wanted to get your ideas and your perception of what quality is and your perception of perhaps quality work. And is that worth more to you? Or is that worth less to you? Or is it worth the same? Of course we all want quality work, but are we willing to pay for it? I mean, everybody says, yeah, I want the highest quality, whatever. But then when it comes time to pay the bill, it's like, you're charging me what for what? So it's kind of a double standard in a way. We want the best, but we don't want to pay for it. And I think technicians suffer a lot within this place because many people want quality work with their vehicles. Of course, I mean, they depend on them. They depend on them to get them where they're going, to bring their groceries home, for all kinds of things. But when those things break down, it's something of a disadvantage. So they bring the vehicle into a shop and they say, hey, fix it. But, you know, don't spend any of my money. And I want you to do a good job. I want you to do a good job. I want you to fix it, but I want it to cost as little as possible. You're kind of putting us behind the 8 ball there. I mean, give us a break, seriously. You can't have it all. It's like physics, you can't have it all. If you're going to gain one thing, you're going to give up something else. It's just how the world works. So somewhere in there's a fine line. There's a happy place. And I think a lot of business owners try to find this happy place in that to where they're offering the customer a quality service or product where at the same time they're still able to make a profit. And that's the game. I think that is the nature of the game. So what are your thoughts on quality, on quality workmanship, on quality materials, on quality parts, which could equate to quality vehicles? Some vehicles might perceive to be a higher quality than other vehicles, and my argument, as I've said before, in domestics versus imports, is that comes from the materials that are used and also the engineering behind it. Because you can have intelligent engineering and cheap materials and actually still make a good product. And I've seen some smart engineering like that pop up from time to time to where, yeah, they took some really cheap materials, but they did some really smart things with them. And they were able to pull it off. A lot of you don't like plastic intake manifolds, but when you think about it, there should be no heat there. So it makes sense to try to save weight, save cost of materials by making an intake manifold plastic instead of out of aluminum. And some of you may disagree with that. You know, of course, heat transfer, all that kind of thing, all of that's affected, yes. But if the engine's operating like it's supposed to, it shouldn't be an issue. Therefore, you're able to save weight and cost, and you know, everybody in the manufacturing side is happy. Now you on the other end of it, well, you may have an issue with that part down the road, and maybe that's because of how it's made or what have you. So maybe that didn't work out as far as an intelligent design. Up for debate. That's why we're having this discussion. It's something that I'd love to hear from you and your perceptions on this. So we can continue this discussion, you know, somewhat in the comments, but also over at ericthecarguy.com, where I will have a link to the forum discussion about this video. And maybe you can chime in over there or wherever you feel like. Come on, it's a free country. It's a free internet. Do what you like. I'm just happy you're watching. Thanks for watching, by the way. You know, while you're over there at ericthecarguy.com, if you have automotive questions, guess what? We have answers. Lots of them, in fact. But I won't go into all the details about how to get those answers. When you get there, there is a welcome video. What I will do is I will post a link in the description to ericthecarguy.com so that you can see all the wonderful options we have to offer when it comes to helping you solve your automotive problems. In addition to that, you can find me on Google+, Facebook, and Twitter, and I close each of my videos with, be safe, have fun, and stay dirty. And as always, thank you for watching. Ooh, you tell me, was this a quality broadcast?